This is a high-level overview of what a business-to-business campaign may look like when the primary goal of the campaign is new customer acquisition. So the general framework that I'm operating under here is a time frame. So we're starting with the beginning of the campaign, and then we're ending at the end of the campaign. And through this time series, the primary focus in the beginning is going to be people that are not even aware that your brand exists. And then in the end, what we're going to do is we're going to have people that are not only aware of your brand, but they're actually paying customers. Now, one thing I want to mention about this overall framework is what we're talking about is what is dominant at each stage. So in the beginning, there are going to be people that are new customers or that are ready to become customers, but the majority of people that we're focusing on in the beginning is people that are brand unaware. Similarly, towards the end of the campaign, there are going to be people that are still not familiar with your brand, but that's not where the focus is. The focus is going to be on people that are ready to convert to become customers. The other thing is I'm going to talk about specific channels. So for example, here I'm talking about Facebook and LinkedIn. It's not that Facebook and LinkedIn are the only channels that we're using in these stages. It's just that those are the dominant channels. And that may vary in your situation. If you're a very large company, it could very well be that television is going to be your main channel. But this is kind of a general framework that would apply to most business-to-business campaigns. So the crux of this is really the stages of awareness. And I think this is where most demand generation, outbound marketing fails, is not reaching people at the stage of awareness that they're at. And usually the problem that I see is everyone's asking for a 15-minute chat on the phone or a 30-minute demo. And what most people do, most prospects do, is they just say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not ready for that level of commitment. So to succeed with an integrated campaign, really what you need to do is appeal to people that are not at that stage where they're ready to book time on your calendar. And the beginning of that is really people that aren't aware that your brand exists. So let's talk about what these stages are. So they're not aware of your brand. There are also people that are just not aware of the problem that you solve, or they don't take the problem seriously enough to think that it warrants action, let alone purchasing your product. Next, you have people that are not aware of the category. So they don't actually know that whatever category of product that you're selling is the solution to that problem, or they're not convinced that it is. They don't have a high level of education on that matter. Now, next, there are people that perhaps are aware of the category. They're aware of chatbots, or they're aware of webcams or microphones, whatever it is that you're selling, but they're not aware of your specific product. And it's not just that they don't know your product's name. They might know the product name, but do they know enough about it to see how they might get value out of it? Do they understand the product in depth? Because that's a mistake I often see where websites, for example, don't go into enough detail about the specific product use cases, specific integrations, how it actually works. So even though those people may be vaguely familiar with your company or your product, they don't necessarily know that it works or does what they want it to do. Next, we have people that are familiar with your product, but they're not aware of the free offer that you have. So that could be a demo, that could be a free infrastructure audit, that could be a free consultation. They're not well informed about that. And then sometimes what we have is a paid offer. So a paid offer could be a discount, or perhaps you get some sort of bonus like unlimited support if you buy the product in the next month. So there are basically two types of offers. There's the initial offer, like the free trial or the demo that gets people in the door, and then there's the paid offer that actually converts them into paying customers. And then someone becomes a customer, and then when they become a customer, hopefully they are upsold later on, and then they go and refer other people to your product. So that's the main way that this overall plan is categorized, is based on the customer, the potential customer, and the stage of education or awareness that they're at. And then what you do is you end up creating content to cater to people at those different stages, and you distribute that content through different channels. So the dominant goal in these early stages is really education. So making people understand that you solve the problem, you are the best way to solve the problem, or your category is the best way to solve the problem, or in some cases it's just mounting evidence to show that the problem needs to be solved, that it's worthy of attention. Memory is also a goal. So for example, with brand awareness campaigns that you run on Facebook through video, really the goal is just to get them to remember your brand, to remember your brand colors, your mascot, so that when there's a buying event, you immediately come to mind because you're distinctive, you're iconic, you're memorable. And later on, it's a little less about education and more on the pushy side, which is persuasion. So it's getting people engaged. So engaged means replying to emails, engaging in conversations, and converting. So doing things like signing up for a free trial, signing up for a demo, buying the product, putting down the down payment, whatever that conversion looks like for your company. Now, when we're talking about timeframes here, we have things that have a long-term impact. So with brand awareness, that's really what you want to do, is get into people's long-term memory. When we're educating people about specific product use cases, the prospect is getting into a little more detail about whether it solves problems that they have now. So that's more of the medium time horizon. And then there's very short time horizon when you're actually getting people to convert. So that's when you're trying to get them to take you up on your free offer and your paid offer. Now, depending on your sales cycle, depending on how expensive your product is, the timeframes are going to vary. So with very small businesses, maybe you can get them to convert then and there, similar to consumer marketing. But if you're dealing with like a 5-month sales cycle with business-to-business enterprise, you're selling to government, something like that, then you're going to have to elongate how much you can perform, which could be done in the short term with SMB. Now, the approach to the marketing, to the copywriting is different. And a lot of people don't really get this. So when you think of advertising and you're not in the business world, you think it's very creative and emotional. And that's actually true when you're doing particularly brand awareness marketing. So you want to be emotional because what you're trying to do is embed your brand into the long-term memory of prospects. But most of the other marketing, when we're dealing with the short-term and medium-term, is actually rational. It's appealing to their rational decision-making. Is this a sensible choice? Does it solve the problem? Does it solve the problem best? Is it better than the competitors? It's more of an analytical messaging